Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the SmackDown review. And tonight's SmackDown was the go-home show for Survivor Series, which is this Sunday. And SmackDown tonight was absolutely terrible, in my opinion. This was a god-awful SmackDown tonight. What a waste of time this show was. I mean, do you guys feel that this is Survivor Series weekend? And do you guys know that Survivor Series is this Sunday? Well, according to WWE and their whole build towards the pay-per-view, you might as well have forgotten that Survivor Series is this Sunday. But overall, SmackDown god-awful show tonight. So let's get started with the review. Let's jump right into it. So the Street Profits opened up SmackDown tonight. They were backstage, and of course WWE once again made the Street Profits into walking billboards because they end up hyping up the show tonight and also Survivor Series this Sunday. They also hype up the final farewell for The Undertaker. So yeah, there you go. WWE making those Street Profits again walking billboards. So then we hear thunder and lightning sound effects. And Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins couldn't believe it. They thought that The Undertaker was there on SmackDown tonight. And then we hear rest in. And then Big E ends up appearing and not The Undertaker. I'm like, did you guys thought that The Undertaker would be on SmackDown tonight? So Big E was shown, he was wearing a sombrero, and they were joking that, Big E said, oh, this is the only thing that he found in the props department. I guess he was looking for, a, Undertaker-style hat. But of course he couldn't find it, so he ended up wearing the sombrero. So Big E ended up praising his brothers, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, his best friends, his bros. And the Street Profits were hyping themselves up, getting ready for their match Sunday at Survivor Series against Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. So Big E ends up believing that the New Day will win this Sunday. So Big E reveals that Kofi and Xavier Woods are here. So Big E ends up doing the New Day intro. So then we had Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. They end up heading out to the ring. Kofi and Xavier end up taking the mic. And they end up talking about checking into the SmackDown Hotel one more time. They end up saying that they're here to talk about being just 2 days away from Survivor Series. And they need to say a few words to the Street Profits. Kofi ended up saying that the Profits are out here talking about passing the torch, and they're right to want the smoke. So Kofi ended up saying the Profits don't want this fire. So then Kofi and Xavier end up paying a tribute to The Undertaker, where they end up getting on their backs, laying down, and doing the Undertaker sit-up that Undertaker does. So both Kofi and Xavier end up sitting up just like The Undertaker. And then Sami Zayn ended up coming out. Sami Zayn was on the mic. He ended up saying that he's tired of hearing about The Undertaker. He ended up saying that the only reason this is Undertaker's final farewell is because Taker knows Sami owes him some revenge after Taker ended up chokeslamming him at Madison Square Garden. So Sami then went on to say that the officials, the WWE officials, are letting The Undertaker take a coward's way out. But one who can take that way out is Bobby Lashley. So Sami went on about how no one can protect Bobby Lashley from what he has in store for him this Sunday. to prove that the Intercontinental Champion is better than the United States Champion. So Sami Zayn comes into the ring. He wanted to talk to Kofi and Xavier about himself. So they say that they can do that. And so the New Day end up saying that, they can do that. But they start cracking jokes on Sami Zayn. And then the whole segment went to when Corbin came out. And anytime Corbin's on TV, everybody's picking up their remotes, muting the TV, or changing the channel. So Corbin ended up yelling at the New Day, ends up bringing up how they just had a SmackDown farewell. Xavier ended up telling Corbin that was their SmackDown farewell, but they're only just visiting for tonight. So Corbin then got into the ring and ended up saying that the New Day, Kofi and Xavier, don't belong on his show, so they have to go. So then out came Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Dolph got on the mic, he ended up talking about being bros with Corbin, but doesn't like Sami Zayn. And also Sami being in this position. So Roode and Ziggler end up coming into the ring. Ziggler ends up knocking the New Day and says they cost him and Roode a title shot at the tag team titles. So Roode and Ziggler end up saying that they believe they should be champions right now. So Roode ended up saying they would win the titles if they had another shot. So Kofi ended up proposing a match, but with a little twist to it. Kofi and Woods end up stirring things up between, the other two sides, which were, Corbin and Sami Zayn and Roode and Ziggler. Xavier Woods proposed that they have a tag team match, and then the winners will receive a Raw tag team title shot. What? That does not make any sense, because the New Day are going to retain the tag team titles, whoever won the match. This did not make any fucking sense whatsoever. So then the teams get ready to fight. Roode and Ziggler end up turning to attack the New Day. And then they end up attacking Kofi and Xavier Woods. And then the Street Profits end up running down to make the save. So we had Kofi, Xavier Woods, Montez Ford, and Angelo Dawkins end up clearing the ring. Montez Ford ended up nailing a dive out to the floor. And then SmackDown went to commercial. But just a generic segment to open SmackDown. Of course, like I said, the show began with the Street Profits being walking billboards once again. Just very, just generic. So then we had an 8-man tag. The Street Profits and the New Day versus Sami Zayn, Corbin, Roode, and Ziggler. This match made no fucking sense whatsoever. Why are the Street Profits in this match? Why? And they're teaming against the New Day? Two teams that are going to be facing each other on Sunday? Really? But this whole match was just meh, in my opinion. Street Profits and the New Day end up winning. Ford ended up coming in, delivered a splash to Sami Zayn. So you go, the Street Profits and the New Day win the match. So when they said, oh yeah, when Xavier ended up saying that they have a tag team match tonight, the winners will receive a Raw tag team title shot. So the Street Profits are gonna get a shot at the Raw tag team titles, This did not make no sense. Oh my God. So then, post-match, the New Day and the Street Profits were bickering at each other. Of course, it's going to be a non-title match at Survivor Series. It's going to be champion versus champion. But overall, just a very meh match. And I'm like, when Woods end up saying, oh, the winners will receive a Raw Tag Team title shot, it's going to be non-title on Sunday. It's champion versus champions. Did these writers or WWE Creative proofread the script? Jeez. So then we saw Daniel Bryan was shown backstage talking to Kayla Braxton. Sami Zayn ended up walking by. He was pissed off about the loss of the 8-man tag. Sami ends up ranting at Daniel Bryan about respect. And then Daniel Bryan ended up just smiling. And Daniel Bryan, he got a haircut. He got, a makeover, nice haircut, freshly shaved. Liked how the way his haircut looked. So Sami was ranting at Bryan about respect. Daniel Bryan was just smiling at Sami Zayn. He lifts up his mask, and Daniel Bryan ends up shoving Sami Zayn to the ground. So Sami ended up getting up, still ranting and yelling. He ended up saying this isn't over, and that he won't forget. So Daniel Bryan ended up saying to Kayla Braxton about having to social distance. And that was that. And then SmackDown went to commercial. And then we went, after SmackDown came back from the commercial, Daniel Bryan was still backstage with Kayla Braxton. Kayla Braxton ended up complimenting Daniel Bryan on his new hairstyle, on his new haircut. And he ended up bringing up the attack that Jey Uso did to him a few weeks ago. So he had a video package of that. Daniel Bryan ended up saying that he saw Jey's interview, where he said everything that happened wasn't personal. And of course, this was he said this after the video package was over. Daniel Bryan ended up saying that he actually believes Jey Uso because he has a devil on his shoulder, shouting and telling him what to do and pushing him hard. Daniel Bryan wanted to say that he understands because everyone has an angel and a devil on their shoulder. Daniel Bryan ended up asking who he think is speaking more to him, reminding him about his daughter crying when she saw him. So that was basically what Daniel Bryan had to say. He ended up also saying if Jey is listening, it's nothing personal. So that was that. So then we saw Adam Pearce backstage. Adam Pearce was talking to somebody, and we didn't know who he was talking to as of yet. He ended up talking to this person about being the final member for Team SmackDown, for the Survivor Series team for the men. So we see that Adam Pearce was talking to Otis. So Otis ended up having Chad Gable with him. Chad Gable ended up celebrating with Otis, and he ended up saying that they did it together. And it's time for Otis to get ready. So Otis ended up thanking Adam Pearce. So there you go. Otis is now the final member for the Men's Survivor Series team for Team SmackDown. And then we saw Natalya end up walking up to Adam Pearce. She ended up telling Adam Pearce that she doesn't understand why she has to face Tamina when he can just put her on Team SmackDown, just like that, for the woman. So then Pearce then end up revealing to Natalya that he already put Bayley on the team in one of the final 2 spots. So Bayley is apparently the captain for the women's Survivor Series team for SmackDown. So because of that news, Natalya wasn't happy, and Adam Pearce ended up telling her that her match with Tamina was coming up. And so that was that. So then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back, Seth Rollins was shown. Seth Rollins ended up saying that Buddy Murphy was nothing, a nobody, before he took him under his wing. Rollins then ended up saying that he saved Buddy Murphy and gave him a new life and is responsible for everything good that Buddy Murphy has in that life. He ended up saying that his burgeoning career, his bright future, even his beautiful girlfriend, Aaliyah Mysterio. So Rollins ended up saying that if it wasn't for him and the greater good, Buddy Murphy would have never met Aaliyah. Rollins ended up saying that in return, he was stabbed in the back. He was set up and betrayed by Buddy Murphy. He ended up saying that he wants Buddy Murphy to remember that he will no longer stand by for his mistakes, and that he will have to pay for them, that Buddy Murphy will have to pay for them. Rollins ended up saying that he will teach Buddy Murphy his final lesson, and that Murphy will go back to what he was before Rollins saved him, a nobody. So that was what Rollins had to say. And then we had Natalya versus Tamina, last chance Survivor Series qualifying match. The winner gets to be on Team SmackDown for the women on the Survivor Series team. This whole match was just trash. It was garbage. Bianca Belair was on commentary. She's one of the women who's going to be on the Survivor Series women's team for Team SmackDown. And then Bayley ended up coming out. Bayley was joined on commentary. But Natalya ended up winning the match. Sharpshooter to Tamina. Tamina ended up tapping out. So there you go. Natalya is now part of the women's Survivor Series team for Team SmackDown. And I'm like, when they said that she was going to face Tamina, I'm like, oh, already, Natalya's already on Team SmackDown. No surprise. Post-match, Natalya ended up celebrating. Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott end up coming out because they're, of course, part of the Survivor Series women's team for Team SmackDown. Bayley ended up entering the ring. She ends up hugging Natalya. And Bayley ends up offering her hand to Natalya. They end up shaking. So Bayley ended up telling, the Riott Squad, Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott, to come in. So they end up raising their hands. So Bayley was trying to hype them up. So that was that. So then we went to the contract signing between Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. Champion versus champion. They're going to be going at it this Sunday at Survivor Series. McIntyre just won the WWE Championship back from Randy Orton this past Monday night on Raw. So McIntyre was sitting at the table. Roman Reigns' music ended up hitting, and Roman was nowhere to be seen. It took him maybe like 2 minutes just for him to come out. So he came out, of course, alongside Paul Heyman. And Reigns ended up taking his time to get into the ring. So he ends up taking a seat, and he stares at McIntyre. And of course, Adam Pearce was overseeing this contract signing. There was no microphone that Drew McIntyre or Roman end up using, which I thought that was pretty cool. And this was like the part of the show that I really liked here. So I thought this whole contract signing was pretty cool. Really enjoyed it. Love what WWE is doing with Roman in his whole heel persona here. So Reigns ended up telling McIntyre he knew he could pull the win off, and that Paul Heyman didn't. Reigns went on to say that he knew he could pull it off because he's been in McIntyre's shoes. He ended up saying that McIntyre knows he's trying to get into his head, provoking him to flipping the table over and going off. And he ended up saying that's not going to happen. McIntyre got on the mic and he ended up saying that, well, he didn't get on the mic because there was no mic here. McIntyre ended up saying that he's going to get to the point. Reigns ended up telling him to go get himself a title. And he did. But it wasn't for Roman. It was for himself. So McIntyre signs the contract. McIntyre ends up handing the contract over to Roman, telling him it's his turn, his show, and his move. So McIntyre ended up asking Roman to please underestimate him. So McIntyre ended up advising Roman to use these last 2 days of peace to prepare for the war. So Reigns ended up smirking at McIntyre, and he goes to sign the contract, and he ends up stopping. He says he can't believe McIntyre would try to give him advice. So Roman ended up saying that Heyman advises him. Reigns ended up saying that he's going to give McIntyre the advice and let him sit under the learning tree. He wanted to say that McIntyre isn't going to like where he's going on Sunday, and he won't understand the brutal truth, but one day he will understand he's a secondary title holder and that he's a prop and a stand-in. So Reigns ended up taking shots at McIntyre for being the WWE champion that they use when Roman is busy. Roman ended up saying that he's the champion and the face of the company, and that McIntyre's tribal chief and the head of the table. Reigns ended up saying that one day McIntyre will have the chance to be the man and the face of the company. And when he does, he will look back at these nights and thank Roman and love him for the time he's allowed him and the lessons. So Reigns ended up signing the contract. He then told McIntyre that he will always be his favorite number 2. So McIntyre was seated as Roman ended up getting up. So McIntyre stands up at the table, and Roman ended up making his exit with Paul Heyman. So we did not get any brawl here. But really liked this contract signing. So it was different, they did not have, no microphone that they were speaking into. They probably had a mic on, on like their shirt. So like a little mic. And then we had Seth Rollins versus Buddy Murphy, which this was an okay match. We had Buddy Murphy end up coming out with Aaliyah, and Rey Mysterio and Dominic were out there. Murphy ended up rushing and jumped on the ring apron. Rollins ended up knocking him right back out to the floor. So we had the Mysterio end up checking on Buddy Murphy. Rollins was yelling at him, and he was waiting for a fight with Buddy Murphy. Murphy ended up running back in. The bell ended up ringing. Rollins ended up dodging the knee and started unloading on Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy ended up countering, ended up taking Rollins down. He was unloading right hands to Rollins. And Buddy Murphy ended up trying to do a jumping knee, but he ended up missing in the corner. Rollins ended up launching Buddy Murphy from the ring apron into the barricade. There was a point where Ray was getting involved, and Rollins was going for a kendo stick to be borne to the ring. Mysterio ended up grabbing it, and Rollins comes, back down from the ring apron and just hits Rey Mysterio with a right hand, sent him into the announce table. Dominic then ended up running over. Rollins ended up taking him out with a right hand. And Rollins then ended up launching Dominic into the barricade and stomps away on him. And at the end of the match, Buddy Murphy ended up getting the win. Buddy Murphy ended up hitting his Murphy's Law to Seth Rollins. So there you go. Buddy Murphy ended up winning the match. But overall, it was an okay match. So then we had Sasha Banks come out, and we had Michael Cole in the ring with Sasha Banks and Asuka, of course the Raw Women's Champion, which they're going to be going at it this Sunday. So Michael Cole ended up bringing up their champion versus champion match this Sunday. He ended up saying that this is more than a match, and that it's becoming a bitter rivalry. He ended up going on to say that it started when Sasha took Asuka's title back earlier this year. Sasha ended up saying that damn right she did. And Asuka ended up ranting in Japanese, ended up saying that Banks is not the boss of her. So Michael Cole ended up bringing up how Asuka won the title at SummerSlam, and that she has held it since then. He ended up asking Sasha if she thinks Asuka has her number. Sasha ended up reminding Michael Cole that it's boss time. And she admits Asuka is one of the greatest in the world. She ended up saying, but as far as SummerSlam goes, which then Asuka interrupted, she was ranting at Sasha and laughing, mocking her. Sasha was then laughing, as well at Asuka. She ended up saying that Asuka is so funny with her little jokes. Sasha ended up reminding how she made Asuka tap out. So Asuka was still ranting in Japanese, and Sasha ended up mentioning, Sasha ends up mentioning being able to understand Asuka. So Sasha ended up saying that if Asuka wants to keep running her mouth, they don't have to wait until Sunday, and that they could go right now. So Sasha went on, and Asuka ends up yelling that Sasha is not ready for her. So then Carmella ends up attacking Sasha from behind. And she ends up attacking her for the third straight week. It's 3 weeks already that Carmella has been attacking Sasha. So Carmella starts unloading on Sasha, turning her upside down into the corner, stomping away on her. Carmella then got in Sasha's face, and she was yelling at her. Carmella ended up saying that boss time is over. So Carmella then delivered a kick to Sasha's face while Sasha was still upside down in the corner. Carmella ended up saying to Sasha, "Told you so." And then that was that. So then we saw Kayla Braxton. She was catching up with Jey Uso backstage for a few words on what Daniel Bryan had to say earlier. Jey ended up telling Kayla Braxton that she has jokes, but he has the green light to talk to her. And the green light is to put an end to Daniel Bryan. Jey Uso ended up saying that he heard what Daniel Bryan was saying, talking like he can't be responsible for his actions, for his own actions. Jey Uso ended up saying that he did what he did to Daniel Bryan because he wanted to. He ended up saying that there is no angel or voice talking to him. And the only voice talking to him is the one talking right now. And right now, it's telling him to go get Daniel Bryan. So there you go. That's what Jey Uso had to say. And then we had the main event. Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. Which this was a decent match here. Match started with Daniel Bryan getting some kicks to Jey Uso, taking Jey Uso down. Daniel Bryan ended up going for a submission. He was mounting Jey Uso from behind with strikes. Daniel Bryan was delivering some chops and a flying knee to Jey Uso's head. And at the end of the match, we had Daniel Bryan end up winning, and Daniel Bryan end up rolling up Jey Uso because Jey Uso was going for a Uso splash, but Daniel Bryan ended up getting his knees up. So Daniel Bryan ended up rolling up Jey Uso. And there you go. Daniel Bryan ended up winning the match. Post-match, we saw Daniel Bryan stand tall. Daniel Bryan was posing in the corner. He was celebrating with the fans on the LED Thunderdome screens. And that was how SmackDown went off the air tonight. But overall, it was a decent match between Jey Uso and Daniel Bryan. But overall, SmackDown tonight was absolutely terrible. But anyways, that's it for the SmackDown review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and until next video, which maybe not do a Survivor Series review this Sunday, but I'll see. But anyways, that's it for this video, and I will see you all later.